join me in welcoming Chris Nikic and his coach, Dan Grieb. Thank you for being here.
All the way, back up, all the way. Keep going, all the way. There you go.
Welcome. How you feeling?
Look over there.
How you feeling? Good? We're proud of you. So I'd like to have a chat with you about your story and, from the younger years and all the way to the point to where you said, you know what, I'm going to do this, and you went out and did it. So if you could first share with the audience so we get to know you a little bit better, what was it like early on growing up?
Move this up. Hold on, champ. I've never been called Down syndrome, and my parents were giving out options, and we've been told by professionals that I couldn't do anything, and so my dad decided to tell them that just stop listening to them and not listen to what they're saying, and let me have a chance to go out and have some fun and socialize with friends and family, and being here with Dan is uplifting, and now that I crossed that finish line, I knew that Dan would bring me into his home with his wife and kids.
Yeah, that was a special moment, I bet. So you couldn't walk until you were 5? I bet that had to be pretty scary times.
Yeah, it's been like the world record holder.
What's that? Yes, now, yeah, from not walking to being the world record holder.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
so doing the Ironman is tough, but I gotta keep fighting.
Yep.
And I knew the pain was coming, and I knew that the blisters were in my way. I had a few setbacks. I had poor balance.
Yep.
And I just came out of 5 months open heart. I was able to recover from ear surgeries, and I knew that by doing Ironman means I have a dream, and the dream is to I have to make more money so I could move around places with my car.
Yep.
And to have my own house.
Yep.
And to marry a smoking hot blonde. And that means this is a concept of not smoking hot, but a woman who has unconditional love, the one who takes care of me, the one who adores me, the one who, as an Ironman, and as an Ironman, lots of ladies are messaging me saying, Chris Nikic, one day, when you have that woman, I'm your woman.
That's good.
So you get the car, you get the house, and the smoking hot blonde.
Yeah.
And So, and Dan, please, I know you were very active in the training and so forth, and I want to get to that for a second. Can you share with us what it was like growing up before you decided to attend or join the Ironman experience?
So I grew up at home. I was constantly playing field games, watching Netflix, and the next day I got a phone call saying that I have to go swim at a women's lake house, and I swam 1,000 yards. And
So did it start with swimming? Was that the first time you got into swimming?
yeah. And I swam 1,000 yards,
Yep.
came back, signed the house, Christmas camp, and my dad looked at it and he said, can my son do Ironman? And so from a 14-mile sprint, I got too fast for Simone. I wanted a guide who is the fastest guide, and that'll be Dan. Dan's
He's even faster than Dan.
uplifting, yeah,
Yeah.
Dan's uplifting
Dan's got some work to
story
do still.
starts with, as a boy, he had an abusive, alcoholic dad. He used to be the helicopter. He used to be the head of his son. And Dan wanted to make his decisions instead of his dad. And so his dad found out that Dan wants to go his own way instead of him. And his dad got fierce with that, and his dad apparently struck his son on his forehead with a bottle.
Okay, good
And,
job. We're not talking about me today. Let's talk
he's
about
on a
Chris
mission
Nikic, the Ironman, okay?
To
that's
become the first person ever to need a blind person to an Ironman. And
Let him ask you
he's
the
very
next question.
connected with me, and
Yes.
Well,
I'm
that
blessed
leads
to
me to my
have
next
him in
question.
my family.
How did the two of you meet?
I met in 2019, and we actually met at one of the Central Tri-Peak meetings. And I guess I went up to him, and I'm like, Dan, I'm doing Ironman. And it's like, why would you want to do Ironman?
Yep.
I'm like, because I have a dream, and the dream is to make working out abroad and achieve the goal and becoming the world record holder is extraordinarily powerful, and I know that when I get my life, how that would, make a difference.
Love it.
So let me add some color to that, Jeff. So Chris is telling the story as best he can remember it.
Yep.
Chris actually started in Special Olympics. Like a lot of people like him, Chris has an intellectual disability, which is Down syndrome. A year ago, I didn't know a single person in the world with Down syndrome. I didn't know of anyone until I met Chris.
Yeah, meaning you knew of it, but you hadn't actually been in a relationship with anyone. Right.
never even was introduced to someone.
Sure.
And so there's a large part of our population, and Chris started to allude, and you guys have heard, I've spoken here before about my childhood and growing up and how I had to, make a lot of different choices in my life, like a lot of your audience people have to do. They have to make different choices if they want things to be different in their lives. And I had made those decisions, and life made sense for me. I personally had set a goal to do 10 Ironmen, and in 2 years, I needed to lose some weight. I ended up losing 100 pounds, you knew that. And then when it was over, I said to myself, what's the best way I can thank God for me losing and regaining my health in my 40s? And the answer is very clear. It's go serve his people.
Yeah. Go do for others what you just did
Yeah,
for yourself.
exactly. And show them the way, right? Exactly what you're doing here at Glover U. You're a very successful real estate agent, and you're now helping them find their way.
Yep.
And that's one of the most rewarding things you can do. So I set out to find someone to do that.
Yep.
And the only people that you could do that for at the time was an incapacitated person, someone that you would literally be in a boat, and then you ride them on the bicycle, then you push them on the run, or a blind person. And I jokingly tell this joke all the time and say, you know, what do you think is the hardest part about leading a blind person through an Ironman?
What is that?
It is finding a blind person that wants to do an Ironman. Because there's just so few. There's, you know, just a few a year that want to do it. But I wanted to use this new body that God had given me to now help someone else. And you know this, you teach this, that life is success and life is not about what you do. It's about who you become in the process.
That's right.
So I wanted to give someone else the same things I'd learned, the discipline in my diet, the waking up and the training and the putting in the work when no one else is looking. Does this sound a lot like real estate?
Yeah, that's right.
And your success journeys, you know, that work. And then all of a sudden you become this Ironman because of the practices, the everyday in and outs. Well, the same is true for becoming a millionaire real estate agent, right? They say the first million is hard. The second million is inevitable. Because once you became that person, once you understand the disciplines, once you're doing the things
just a
you're doing,
matter
then
of time.
boom, now it's just doing that. I wanted to give that to someone else.
Yep.
Chris, as he said, he got too fast for his current guide. He was doing some small little sprint triathlons that are 14 miles long. I was completing 140-mile
And when did you start training for the Ironman?
Him and I started training right after he did that swim in early 2020.
And that was special. That was for Special Olympics.
No, he was already with Special Olympics.
Can you tell us about that
Yeah,
period of time?
So, Chris, why don't you tell him, what did you do with Special Olympics? Tell him about how you started. You finished last. Remember? Tell him that part. Nice and loud.
So, athletes have been selected to do the race, and I was one of them, and I was dead last,
Dead last.
and I was literally happy that I was dead last,
No, I wouldn't.
and
No, he was
I
happy.
got my
Oh, you were
medal.
happy you were dead last. Why?
Because I knew that I had to keep working so that way kids could take a break
Yep.
and I could keep going. And
So what he's saying is that he finished his first couple sprint triathlons at the Special Olympics, and he was like dead last. He was dead last by like 40 minutes.
Yep.
And he knew he had to keep working, and that's where this process of getting 1% better came in.
Yep.
So he started working, you know, with an intellectual disability, our brains work like this. We have a highway of information that travels down 5 lanes, right? Well, with Down syndrome, he only has 2 lanes of traffic. So all of that information has to go down these 2 lanes.
Yep.
So anytime we introduce something new to him, it's complex to him that he's got to practice it over and over again. So a simple thing like stepping up onto a box jump
Sure.
at the gym, that requires tons of practice
And energy.
and energy for him. But for him, what we teach him is just get 1% better, a little bit better every day. And while other athletes are starting to peak out and slow down, he's got this undercurrent of success that's building every day.
Yeah.
This little 1%, 1%, 1%, to now he just leans on that 1% rule to be successful. What are those 1% rules, Chris? Do everything with a what?
so 3 rules
3 rules.
for this 1% is to work hard.
To work hard.
The second part is to eat more.
Eat more.
Gotta
Which
feel your
is,
body.
I gotta eat more chipotle. Do it with a smile.
The third rule is
Do it with a smile.
do it with a smile.
Why?
And make no excuses.
And make no excuses.
Right? Because why?
Because we don't tolerate that.
That's right. Your coaches don't tolerate excuses,
Yeah.
right?
Don't
Awesome. So take us through when you first started training together. Day 1, what did it look like?
So,
the swim.
day 1, I rode 100 miles on Saturdays. And they would come out, and on Sundays I run 18 miles with them. And then on Friday I swim 5,000 yards.
So 5,000 yards on Friday.
Yeah,
Saturday was running.
100
miles on a bike.
Saturday was 100 miles on a bike, and Sunday was
18.
18 miles running.
Yeah.
So that's not what he did on his first day exactly. His first day, we practiced some laps in the pool. However, leading up to his training, his average work week towards Ironman will be about 4 to 6 hours a day. He'll do a morning session, and then he'll do an afternoon session. And then on the weekends, he will swim 5,000 yards with me, tethered to me. Then he'll bike independently of me, and we'll do between 80 and 100 miles. And then he'll run between 15 and 20 miles on Sunday.
Yep.
Now, for him, that's different than others because, again, he has processing issues. So for him, he's got to mitigate a lot of other issues that you and I don't. So his average speed on the bicycle is 15 miles an hour. A 100-mile bike ride for him takes 6 hours.
Yeah.
That means he's in a stagnant position. Now, Chris has balance issues. You can see he has hearing aids in. So when you understand the feat that he did to complete an Ironman, he sits in a stagnant position just like this. So next time you guys are on your Peloton or on a bicycle, I want you to lock into a position and don't adjust yourself for 6 hours. Don't remove your hands. Don't do anything. I stop him every 30 minutes to 40 minutes, and I have to physically, right ahead of him, stop him, help him get off his bike, give him nutrition and water, and then set him back up again, which is another new feat into itself because, like, think about it. You and I, we say we'll just fight through the pain and we'll just go because we know how much longer it's going to last, right?
Yep.
For him, imagine if I just said, all right, Jeff, I'm going to stop the pain, then I'm going to start the pain again. I'm going to stop the pain, start the pain again. Wouldn't you rather just stay in that period of pain?
Right.
Also with Down syndrome, he doesn't really understand dates and time and distance. So a mile to him is across the room. 100 miles to him is across the room.
Yeah.
2 hours or 10 hours are the same thing.
Yep.
His whole life is about a disability, and I want you to think about his disability as also being his superpower. And do you mind if I share a few of Chris's superpowers? I'll tell him, and you tell me if I'm right, and then you can talk. Neil, you'll be next, I promise.
Okay.
Okay, good. We have to negotiate sometimes, right?
Yeah.
You love to negotiate.
Yeah.
Number one is Chris's superpower is human connection. He loves to hug people. Do you love to hug people?
Yeah.
After we're done, if we get a chance to meet you, guaranteed he's going to hug you. So if you don't want to, don't ask him for a picture if you don't want to hug, because that's going to happen. But Chris hugs everybody equally. He doesn't judge people. He will hug you if he's happy. He will hug you if he's sad. He will hug you if he's emotional. He'll happy if he's excited to see you. It always leads with a hug. What would our lives be like if we just started everything with a hug?
Wow.
That's what he's taught me. Number two, Chris is living in the moment. Now, Chris did change the world for Down syndrome, but he's not thinking about that right now. You know what he's thinking about right now? Is the fact that he's hanging out with his Uncle Dan and his friend Jeff here talking, right?
Yeah.
He just likes being here with us. That's what it is. Chris's dream was not to be an Ironman. His dream was to live independently, buy his own car, buy his own house, and have a wife that loves him unconditionally. And he saw Ironman as being that vehicle. If you ask him at any time what your dreams are, he'll tell you those three things. He's an intimate relationship with his dreams, and he lives in the moment.
Yep.
And the last thing that sets Chris apart from others is that he understands that it requires being coachable. Chris is the most coachable human being I've ever met. You know I'm a coach. We've coached together on a lot of stuff. He's coachable. If I say, Chris, I want you to adjust this, he says, okay, Dan.
Yep.
And he adjusts. He doesn't say, well, I already know something. You know, one of the biggest things that is holding back the members of your audience today from having the lives they want to have is the information they already know. See, I'm not going to instill Jeff's system today because what I'm already doing is working. It's working at a low level, but it's working. I already know. I already have that figured out. Yep. Well, with Chris, he doesn't do that. He doesn't have the ability to do that. Yep. When we give him new knowledge, he just says, okay, Dan, and he goes.
Blind faith every time.
You have to.
Yep.
And that's the reason why he's a world record holder, and I'm not. He's more coachable than me.
Right.
He's changed the world, and I got to go with him.
You think you got it figured out, right?
Correct. You just say thank you, Dan. You stop it. Okay.
So take me through, I understand the 4 to 6 hours of training and so forth. What does the meal prep look like? What does the alarm clock time look like? What does that look like?
Tell them what you like to eat. What do you eat for breakfast?
I eat Waffle House
Oh, yes, he does.
with eggs, smothered covered,
Oh, yeah.
with chili,
With chili. And what else?
bacon.
Bacon.
And then I eat Chipotle.
Oh, gosh. Tell him about your
Every
Chipotle
day,
order.
all day, baby.
All day.
With double rice and guacamole.
Guacamole. And what do you eat for
I
dinner?
eat P.F. Chang's
P.F. Chang's?
with double rice again.
Yeah.
The main noodles. King's chicken
And what do you get for dessert?
and the cake.
What kind of cake?
Great Wall.
Great Wall of what?
Great Wall chocolate.
Oh, my gosh. You can't eat that. You're an
I
island.
never share it with a guy.
No, he
I
doesn't.
share with a woman.
He never shares with me. Only with the ladies.
Yep, the daddies and the cake.
Are you taking applications right now?
Yes.
I figured so. Okay.
They may be out there.
Now, listen.
And maybe if the daddies for my autographs today, they would.
Okay. Redirect. All right, so there's some truth behind what he says. We allow him to eat pretty much what he wants to eat. However, again, for Chris, he's not trying to prove something here. He just wants to be around other people. He wants to feel included and be part of things. And I can't take him to the brinks of human exertion if I'm going to also take away what's fun for him. You can't eat your favorite foods anymore if you hang out with Uncle Dan. Do you think he's going to want to hang out with Uncle Dan very long? No. So I think that, there's a lesson there too for the rest of us, is that life does not have to be all or nothing. You can have a little bit of cake if you work really hard, but you can't have your cake and not work really hard. See, with him, we tell him he can have his Chang's or Waffle House or whatever if you do what? Work hard. And what do we call it? Your personal what?
Best.
He has to give us his personal best. And if he gives us his personal best, even I will go eat Waffle House with him. I will go and eat Chang's for the 5,000th, millionth, fulfillingth time with him. He loves habit. He's a creature of habit. So I can tell you his order anywhere we eat, anytime we eat.
No, I drink Corona.
Yes, he does. One Corona.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all you get.
Nightclub, I'll be drinking Stella.
Oh, Stella at night.
Stella's good.
Yeah.
Stella's good. So the daily routine, right? Alarm clock goes off at what time? What happens? What is it like? Getting ready, getting prepared. What does that schedule look like for a typical day?
So why don't you tell him what your schedule looks like now for training?
So my schedule is pretty tight through training, work. I've got to,
So what time do you wake up normally?
I don't have any time to wake up.
About 7.
But,
About 7.
my daddy suggests me sleep in.
And then what do you get up? You get up and you go, and Marquise, and you go do what?
Workouts
Okay, where do you do workouts?
at the gym.
At the gym. What kind of workouts do you do?
I do strength.
Strength. And then what else do you do? Like, what are you gonna?
do?
What are you doing after we leave here? You're gonna swim today, right?
And then I do push-ups, sit-ups, and squats.
So how many push-ups, sit-ups, and squats did you do when you started? How many push-ups?
1.
You did 1 push-up?
Yeah.
1 sit-up?
Yeah.
1 squat? And how many push-ups, sit-ups, and squats did you do a year later just before?
200.
200?
And by the way,
Here he
his
goes.
face was so pure red.
Yes, my face gets red when we work out.
His face was stern, as red as ever.
My face is turning red right now.
Yes.
Stop it.
Okay, there.
So 200 push-ups, and how many sit-ups did you do?
200.
And how many squats did you do?
200.
And how many are you going to do before we go to Hawaii?
500.
500 push-ups?
Yes.
And then 500 sit-ups?
Yes.
500 squats?
Yes.
What?
And his face would be stern as red. All over his clothes.
This is a
all
keynote,
over
not a
his
roast.
body,
All
everything.
right, good job. We're going to teach you the difference.
All right. Take us to race day. What was going through your mind? How did you have to mentally prepare for that day?
So I prepared by motivation on Saturday morning in Pembina Sea Beach at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. in
I
Panama City
wake
Beach.
up, get my stuff, ready to the race. And then I swear 2.4 mile swim. And then from the swim, I went for 112 mile bike ride.
What happened on the bike ride?
And apparently, I want all the ladies to hear this. By 40, I had to stand down.
You stand down.
And all of a sudden, I didn't know this. And I was like in complete shock. And I mistakenly stepped on the Empire. And it was so stinks. Oh my gosh, it was stinks. And basically, it stinks when it went up to my ankle. So like,
Nice socks.
so here's the bruise, the ankle,
Yeah.
then it went up towards my whole foot, and then it already went into my groin where my private parts are.
I will leave that part out.
And I should have said that out loud, but it just happened.
You should not have said that out loud. Correct.
Yeah. But it did happen.
It happened.
And then by 50, I crashed and skidded my bike.
Crash your bike.
Yeah.
How fast were you going when you
And
crashed your bike?
I was complete, like, I don't know how to say this, like 12 miles per hour.
That's the correct way to say it. 21 miles an hour. That's how fast you were going when you crashed your bike.
And then I was going towards Dan. And Dan's like, stop it. He's like, stop running towards me. Stop it. I know what you're thinking. And when I crashed and was going to skid towards Dan's bike, he's like, stop it. I know what you're doing. Stop it. And he got away from me. And then he came up to me. And I literally started screaming. But I did cross my bike. And Dan was like, boy, I wish you skimming like that. What the heck are you thinking, man? And then I'm like, you know what I was thinking. And it's like, no, you don't.
All right, let's talk
I'm
about the
like,
run
I
now.
do.
So what happened at the end? So we had to, then Nick
I
came
had
up to
to
us and you had to do
ride.
what? Well, tell me what we had to do at the end. You started falling behind, didn't you?
And then I had to ride the next 32 miles fast.
You had to make up time.
Actually, make up our time.
Yep.
And you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Then what happened?
And then on my 10, on the marathon, oh my gosh, the pain, the blisters, and the crash, and my dad came out, and he pulled me aside, and he said, Chris, I know you have pain. Word for word. He said, it's a battle. So like, I want all the ladies to hear this. There is a battle between the pain and the dream. In the dream, it's not about doing Ironman. The goal is to do Ironman. The dream is to have a house, have a car, and marry a woman. And by doing that, I said my dream. And when I said my dream, word for word, he said to Dan, can you trust my son to lead him through the finish line with no tether? Because the tether is really, really horrible, and the tether is really bad. And then he literally took the tether off. And then as my dad and I were walking, he said to me, son, I know what you're going to say, and you got to wait. And I'm like, Dad, I'm not waiting. I'm going to get a rifle now. When I said I want to get a rifle now, that means I'm doing this race for her. And matter of fact, Mike Ronnie just said, so like I said, Mike Ronnie, the voice of Ironman, he got it thrown out with a message in a letter. The letter got dropped towards me. And then the letter basically said, from the voice of Ironman, Mike Ronnie, word for word, he said, Chris, I know you have pain, but there's a moment on this red carpet. I sent out a smoking hot one because your dad told me to. So he said, Chris, I know you have pain, and there's a moment that you have on this red carpet. You have a smoking hot one on the red carpet. Like your dad told me to.
When you get there.
All right,
Your dad told me so.
let's stop there. Good job.
And then
Hey, that's
I
good.
ran in, and I knew it was coming in for the moment.
Okay, good job. Stop there for a
When
second.
I
Hey, stop there.
started
It's my
the
turn.
red carpet, I knew I had to go for the woman.
Okay, stop. Good job. Hey, listen, when I say it's time to cut, you have to cut, okay? Okay, good job. Thank you. So let me add some more color to that, too. Okay. So Chris had to start the race. He lives in the moment. So when you ask a question like, so what was going through your mind at that moment? He was like, look, a beautiful lady. That's what was going through his moment. Or, oh, look, we're going to go swim in the ocean. He's not thinking about a 140-mile race. He's thinking about that moment. I obviously was freaking out because I knew the gravity of what we were doing. And this is some deep stuff here. This young man, his whole life, was told he wouldn't amount to much. From the moment his parents were told they had a child with Down syndrome, they were told, and he said this earlier, let me tell you about your options. You know what options they're talking about?
What are they talking about?
They're talking about, like, aborting this baby. And that happens every day. Mothers and fathers every day have this dream of having a baby, and then they have professionals tell them, like, you're going to have a child that's not going to amount to much. And their hearts are broken. And they're devastated, and they don't know what to do. And for his parents, Patty and Nick, they made a decision to have this baby and to raise their child. But they listened to the experts the whole time for 18 years and said, my son's not going to amount to much. And they had a daughter who played professional basketball in Europe, and they labeled her as gifted, very smart, could do anything, and for him they labeled him as special. And that little label of gifted and special determined how they would treat him. Well, one day they woke up and they said, you know what? Like, forget this. My son's sitting on the couch. He's isolated. He's going to get heavy. He's going to have all these problems. Why don't we just take the lid off and just start calling him gifted? Let's just see what he can do.
Yes.
And then they got him out there. They got him into Special Olympics. Thank you. They got him into Special Olympics, and they said, let's just see how far he'll go. We got him into Special Olympics, then we went from a sprint triathlon to an Olympic triathlon, which is what him and I are going to do this weekend. That's about a 27 to 30-mile race. Then we tried to do a swim that was very long. At that swim, that's when Chris did a swim, and his father's mind was blown. When I took him out into this lake, 500 yards across, 500 yards back, he was thinking, this is crazy. His dad was thinking, this is crazy. Who wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and swims in a lake in the dark, 1,000 yards over and 1,000 yards back?
Yep.
Well, I do. That's just what normal triathletes do. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to be included in my world and to see how far he could go. And from that, the idea of Ironman was born for him.
Removing the lid.
Removing the lid.
And the label.
And the label. And then boom, and it grows and it grows and it grows. So here we are, race day now. And we've received all of this press. We've been interviewed by NBC, ESPN, all the local news media. I mean, every day there's somebody miking us up and talking to us while we're training. And we're feeling the weight of the Down syndrome world starting to really lean on us. Now, as a young person, I did live a troubled life. And I prayed that God would one day let me change the world. And I had no idea that God was going to let me change the world by changing the world for people that I knew nothing about, was not affected by.
People you won't even meet.
And never even knew of. A culture that now I'm an advocate for that I never knew a single thing about. The greatest among us are hidden like him. And so I felt that weight. And when we get out on the bike, we did the swim, that was a little tough. We got through that. We get out on the bike and he stands in an ant pile. The thought, I have to prepare for everything for him. I am his eyes, his ears, I am his body. I'm the decision maker of whether he keeps going or stops. Yep. If there's a chance he could get hit by a car, we have a contingency plan where I crash into him. We both go to the hospital. We both get a little hurt instead of him getting really hurt. Yep. I mean, we got everything figured out. Yep. We did not plan on ant bites. Sure. He had ant bites literally biting him. Once we found the bites, they bit me too, but once we found them on him, he got the worst of it. We washed him down from head to toe, but we failed to wash around his timing chip, which is something that Ironman makes you wear during your race. Mm-hmm. So we didn't remove it. We removed the shoes, the socks, and his timing chip was on. That meant Chris did the rest of the race with ant bites biting him for 11 to 12 hours more and kept going. Then we get out, we get going again. He gets excited about seeing his dad because we got his dad out on the course to check out the ant bites. He got to see his dad, gave his dad a great hug, and he got excited. He started riding his bike too fast. So I ride up to him and I say, hey man, slow down, you're going too fast. He doesn't have his hearing aids and he can't hear me. I yell louder, hey man, slow down. He doesn't hear me, so I yell again, hey man, slow down. He grabs his right brake, he goes into a skid, he almost hits me, and he goes down. And I now am in front of him because I'm not crashing out. I've got to slow my bike down. But I can hear him hit the body. I can hear his body hit the ground. I can hear his bike sliding down this hill behind me. And all I'm thinking of this is God, this story can't end like this. Yeah. This cannot be the story. Boy with Down syndrome tries Ironman, crashes out, ends up in hospital. Right. That can't be the story. That would do the exact opposite of inspiring others. Oh, that would be there is a world of people that love Chris and people like Chris, that love you and people like you, and they say things that harm you so terribly like this. Mm-hmm. They kill you so slowly with the words called, be realistic. And this young man has been told our whole Ironman journey, let's be realistic about this. Let's be realistic about this. And I'm thinking realistic? Why are we going to do that? Now we're just putting the lid back on. We don't know what he's capable of doing. Let him try. And these are people that love him, their intentions are good, but all they're trying to do is protect him. He doesn't need to be protected. He needs to be included. He needs to understand failure, just like you and I have understand failure. He needs to have the ability to go out there and meet a woman and to feel love and feel rejection and to go through that. But those are not chances he was given. Well, I crashed my bike out. He crashed his bike out. I get back up. I turn around, and he's standing there laughing. I just crashed my bike. And I'm why are you laughing? And by the way, this is an act. And he's laughing. I'm going, Chris, what are you doing? And he goes, I just crashed my bike. And he thinks it's hilarious. And I'm having a full-on heart attack. I just killed Chris in front of his son, Nick. This is terrible. And I'm going, you're killing me. We get him back on the bike, and he's riding slow because all that processing. Yep. Now he's got to process everything that's happened, and now he slows down. We fall behind. His dad rides up and says, hey, man, you guys are falling behind. You got to go. So he talks to Chris and I, and we tell Chris, you cannot ride 15 miles an hour, which was our pace. Yep. You have to ride 18 miles an hour for 30 miles. And what'd you do, champ?
Make the cutoff.
You made the cutoff? You beasted it out?
Yeah.
You did? Gosh, what are you doing, kid? So I'm going to kind of finish up the race 2 minutes.
Yep.
So then we get out onto the run course. And listen, there is no Down syndrome division. It is 140 miles. You finish or you don't in 17 hours. If you finish in 17 hours in 1 minute, you are not an Ironman. If you finish before 17 hours, you are. Yep. There's no shortcuts. There's no extra water breaks. There's no help for him. The only advantage he has is he has me as a guide, and we're tethered on the swim for safety. We're tethered on the run. He does not have the ability to understand distance and time. As you can tell when he was telling the story, he was jumping around.
Yep.
So I have to pull him to a distance, to a speed, and then hold him to that speed. But he has to physically pick his feet up and put his feet down for 26 miles. Well, every athlete suffers the same thing when they get on the run course. They hit the wall. There is a point where you will just no longer make sense. Why the hell am I doing this? My body is screaming, stop, and yet I have to keep moving forward. Yep. The goal is more important than the pain.
Yep.
Well, at that point, I can help Chris through 95% of his issues. I mean, I've been in his life a year. We're very close. We talk every single day, don't we?
Yeah.
Every day we talk. We spend a lot of time together, and I understand that. But there's about 5% I don't have, and that I need his dad to come out. And here's the part he talked about that is so important, like the documentaries, the movies are really going to highlight, is he walked out and he said this to Chris, exactly what Chris told you. Chris, there's a battle going on right now, a battle between your fake pain and your dream. And we're going to talk about pain in a minute. Your fake pain and your dream, which one's going to win? And Chris said, without hesitation, my dream. And we put the tether back on, and we finished that race. Now, here's the part that I will forever be moved by. Before we took off, Nick had to make a conscious decision to leave his son and not come back. Because as a father, what's your number one thing you want to do? You want to protect your kid. Well, his son was falling apart. He was at the brink of human exertion where I told him I would take him. Yep. He says out loud to me, and there's other guides there, but he's directing it to us and me primarily. He says, God sent angels to be with my son. I'm going to let his angels take him home from here. And that was him giving himself permission to just let it happen. Yep. And him turning over everything to me. You know, you live a tough life, you make a lot of bad decisions in your life, but when somebody refers to you as an angel to someone like him, and then says, I'm going to trust you at the most vulnerable point in my son's life, it validates everything that has occurred in your life up to that moment and makes you believe that every trial you went through to get to that moment was worth it.
That's right. Love it.
And then we finished the race. You know, we've got 2 miles left. And Chris, let's do this part together.
How much time is on the clock?
Yeah, so we got 2 miles left, and there's 54 miles left. Can you and I talk together a little bit, tell the story? All right, and there's 2 miles left. Do you remember what I told you? We're going to have to run. We could walk, remember? Yeah. But we decided not to walk, right? And do you remember why? Because we wanted to set the bar high for the next person with Down syndrome that came behind you, right? Yeah. So what did we do? We gave our personal what? Best. Gave our personal best. And I promised you that if you gave me your personal best, that you got to do what with all of your friends as we got to the end?
Hugs.
Hug all your friends?
Yes.
Did you hug all the ladies
Yes.
too? All of them?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So on the way in, Chris did the last 2 miles faster than he did the majority of the middle miles.
Okay.
With me, with the understanding he could go and hug all of his friends on the way in. So we got to hug all of his friends on his way in. And the first group was our triathlon club, the members that had been there just to watch us. So we got to hug them. Yep. And then the second group was my real estate team. They all traveled up from Orlando to go watch it in Panama City, so we got to hug them. And he loves them, don't you? Who's your favorite?
Gianna.
Oh my God, my assistant Gianna's his favorite. All right. So then after that, he got Alexis is his second favorite. All right, we're moving on from the real estate team. Stop it, boy.
Okay.
So then the last group was actually, do you remember who we hugged last? Anna Marie.
Yeah.
And who else? Abigail.
Yeah.
And who are they? Tell them.
they're like friends.
They're friends of yours who also have what?
Down syndrome.
Down syndrome. And he got to hug them. And you could literally, there was not a single person in that crowd that wasn't crying at the moment.
I bet.
And it was because, for the rest of history, this young man will be the reason why when doctors say, let me tell you your options, or your child won't amount to much, the parents will be able to say, but what about that one kid who completed an Ironman with Down syndrome?
Yeah. Love that. Imagine if his parents, your parents, said, let's be realistic. We wouldn't be here today.
He would not have. Remember when you walked in here, what you said? Do you remember? I'm going to live what? What kind of life? Do you remember?
The moment.
No, you said I'm going to live an unreal life. Do you remember that? You said unreal life, remember? He saw your sign, and he said, I'm going to start living an unreal life. Remember that?
There we go.
So,
Well, I think he's been doing that. I think he's been doing that for about a year.
Yeah.
He's saying, I'm going to defy the expectations. I'm not going to buy into this realistic BS, and I'm just going to go out there and see what's possible.
Yeah.
And isn't that what living an unreal life is?
That's right.
It's just getting out past the normal.
That's right.
Because who wants normal anyway? Like, who wants a normal marriage? Who wants a normal life? We don't watch videos of normal people and be like, one day I want that.
Yep.
We don't say to our children, hey, make sure you grow up and you live average.
Yep.
Like, you can be average, Johnny, I know it, Mary. Like, people aren't sitting in this room right now because they crave average.
That's right.
The question is, how do they now take what they've learned here, the inspiration they received from Chris, the knowledge they've taken from you, how do they now weave that into their new life?
That's right.
Their unreal life. And it's going to largely be as a result of what? They're coaching.
Yep.
He's here where he is today because he's coachable.
Coaching
And
and accountability.
And accountability. And he has a coach that is willing to pour into him and to give him the best of me. They have the same in their real estate career.
Do. Awesome. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
let me say this.
Please.
I know all of you are moms, and I need all of you to understand this. If your child is at home, isolated, and being told that your child won't do anything, my advice to the moms that you have to stop listening to the experts and let your kids have a chance to go out and exercise and like I live in a life, real life. And if y'all want to message me, go ahead.
Give him a hug. Give him a hug. Thank you.
Nice job. Congratulations.
Thank you for having us. Love you too. So proud of you. Let's go, buddy. Come on.